Hi sewing friends, welcome to my sewing room. My name is Beth, and if you're new, welcome. Today I'm going to be making one of the most basic scrap quilts using some leftover strips and a little less than 1 yard of another fabric. These are all flannels. Today I'm trying to use up some of my scraps in my flannel drawer. So I'm going to show you how to make this quilt. Let's get started. Here are the flannel strips that I found in my scrap drawer. They're all different widths, and I'm going to be sewing them together and seeing how big of a block I'm going to be able to get from those. And I also have that green floral fabric that I'll be cutting into squares for an alternate block. So I'm going to start by sewing my strips together. They're all different lengths, they're all different widths, and I'm going to see about how big of a square I can get with 3 strips. After pressing and then measuring all of my random strips that had been sewn together, it turned out that the magic number is 7 inches. So I was able to get a 7-inch block from all of my strip sets here. I thought I might get to 8, but I was only able to get to 7. So for most of these, I tried to add a larger width strip as I was sewing them together so that my block would be just a little bigger. But as I was making these strip sets, I did not measure anything. I just sewed them together. As I was making these, I wasn't sure how many I would be able to get out of these pretty leftover strips, but I was able to get 21 of these strip set blocks made, and I also cut 21 squares out of that pretty green fabric for my alternate square. I put my quilt blocks on my design wall here, not knowing if I would put them all going the same direction, or I thought I might even mix them up, some going horizontally and some going vertically. But in the end, I decided to have them all going vertically. Here's that pretty green flannel that I'm going to be using for my alternate block, and I had a yard and I had about 8-inch strip left over when I was done cutting all of my 7-inch squares, and I also had some little pieces left as well. So I had plenty of fabric to make this beautiful scrap quilt. I put it all up on my design wall, and you may or may not notice that I have a couple blocks here that are not just strips. I took some of my leftover strip sets that were not 7 inches and I sewed them together. So I have sort of a little bit of a 9 patch there, sort of a wonky 9 patch, and I'll also have another block that's not a strip set, but you know, quilts are full of surprises, and that's my little surprise in this quilt. Had everything arranged. I took my blocks row by row and I sewed them together in rows, and then after all the rows were done, I sewed those rows together, just pinning the seams and trying to get everything lined up. And here is that one of those blocks that is not a strip set. See these leftovers that I wasn't able to get 7 inches out of the leftovers, so I took those leftover pieces, I pieced them together, and then I was able to cut this pieced square, this pieced quilt block, into a 7-inch square, and I snuck this one in. My quilt top is now complete, and I really like the way this turned out, and I really enjoyed using up all those leftover strips that were in my flannel drawer. Some of these fabrics are just so precious, and it was fun to use some of them in this beautiful quilt. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.